Hi everyone, this is Ronnie. Let me just use some apples here to hold up this phone. And on this channel we mostly talk about health and we talk about the raw vegan diet. But there's so many aspects to health, and I wanted to talk about dealing with emotions and emotional processing. And there's actually a link between that and diet to some degree, and the raw food thing. But I do the raw food thing. I'll put a link below if you want to join my newsletter or look at my book and things like that. But it's dealing with rejection and dealing with breakups and dealing with grief and the difficult emotional situations of life. And I've been lucky. My grandmother died recently, but I've not really had a lot of deaths in my life that have been what do you call it, like, that have happened unplanned. Maybe unplanned not the right word, but unexpected. I didn't really have anyone when I was growing up. None of my friends died or anything like that. I never had someone commit suicide or a partner or a child die or anything like that. So I've not been through those probably the toughest things that people can go through. My two parents are alive. My grandmother died, but it was a very long process and it was kind of inevitable at the end of the day. And I don't know if I was really close with her anyway. Like, I don't know if I really had a very close bond with her. But yeah, and I've had some uncles and some auntie die and stuff like that. But I can't say I've been through the worst of the worst. Personally, I've not been in jail or anything. I've not been beaten up badly. I've not had really terrible things happen. So I've not lost a limb or whatever. So there's a lot of really tough emotional things to go through in life. And I'm not going to pretend here that I've went through all of them, but the kind of normal everyday things, or things that happen every year, like being rejected by people, whether that's a relationship or friendship or job or whatever, breaking up with someone in a relationship, and yeah, I think those are some of the main ones. I think a lot of the times one of people's biggest fear is rejection, and it's why people don't do things. They fear rejection. They fear being told no, really. And it's painful, no matter how many times you do something and someone says no. It's always going to be painful. And negative emotions are a part of life that we have to have a bit of a strategy to deal with, I think. And what I've learned over the years, the only thing I've learned over the years, is kind of being very honest, to have expectations set, being very humble, and just sitting and feeling and accepting it, feeling those emotions. And there's no other way of getting around it. And being forgiving of yourself as well. That's like the only things that work, as far as I can see. But what do most people do? They go into denial. Heavy denial. I know some people, I can think of one person. I can think of lots of people, lots of situations in which a person has experienced some kind of emotional grief, rejection, and they've been in denial for years about it. And like wild denial, crazy denial to the point that they've kind of wasted years of their life over something that they should have accepted years ago. Now, some of you might know that there is a stages of grief, classically, that people go through when someone dies or something ends or whatever. And actually people can go through that when they give up cooked food as well. They can go through the stages of grief. And those stages, classically, this was in a book, I think, by Elizabeth Kubler-Ross about death and dying. And she said that accepting death or accepting someone else's death. Denial, anger, bargaining, depression, and acceptance. So what does that mean? Denial means that you actually deny the reality of what's happened. It's too painful for you to actually accept it in the moment. So as a human being, you've developed all these routines, habits, a way of looking at life, a narrative of your life, an idea of who you are, that something comes along and destroys all that. You know, if you thought you were going to be with this person to the end of your life, if you thought this person was going to be alive, if you thought you were going to live another 30 years, you had all these thoughts in your mind, all these expectations. You were set up for that, and then something comes along and cuts that off and changes that. Well, it's very hard for you to just accept that in one go. That's an emotional shock to the system, so people go into denial. Go into denial about it and just deny that it's actually happened. And they're waiting for the person to still come back home. They're waiting for the person to wake up. They don't believe that the person doesn't want to go out with them or doesn't want to marry them. They don't believe it. They can't accept it. And then moving on into like, and I'm sure these stages are, you know, people can go back and forth. Anger, just being angry at the whole situation. People can get, and who are you angry at, really? You know, it's just reality, but people get angry at God, angry at other people. Bargaining is when, for example, a person says, God, if you give this person back to me, I'll do anything. I'll quit my job. I'll travel to another country. I'll do everything I can. I'll treat them better this time. Whatever. You know, I'll become a Christian if you give me my life. You know, bargaining. Just that's another stage of desperation, not accepting reality of it and looking for almost a supernatural solution. Depression is something that people get caught in for a long time, sometimes lifetimes. People get caught in the depression of the reality of a situation, and depression is depression. It's what you think it is. It's kind of an overwhelming negative outlook on life, a sense of disconnection, alienation, lack of energy, not wanting to get up because you just cannot believe that your reality is not in line with your world, with what's happening in your life. And that's the last stage before acceptance, where you actually accept this has happened. Now you can go through that quickly, or it takes a longer period of time, or whatever. I think a lot of people went through that, the coronavirus thing, like people were in denial that it was all happening. I probably was. And eventually had to accept. And now I'm accepting like lockdown might happen again, and it's just horrible. I just can't believe that this is happening, but it looks like it might. Anyway, let's not talk about it. So whenever you need to have an expectation that when you go through a scenario like this, you have to have an expectation that you're going to want to deny it. You're going to get angry about it. You're going to get depressed about it. But ultimately, none of these things are going to change the scenario. The only thing that will help you is getting to acceptance as quickly as possible. By being able to identify that you're going to be in denial, you're going to get angry, you're going to do all these things, and maybe you'll go back and forth. But ultimately, you have to accept it. And it's very difficult to accept the reality that you don't want to accept. People get stuck for years, stuck for so long. The denial thing is horrible. Denial can make people go crazy because they start to, and this is what people do, they start to create a narrative of life to try and justify this idea that this is not real. This can't actually be happening. And so everything gets perverted, and it's just very strange. Anyway, so how do you deal with that? Firstly, expectations. Understanding that you're going to go through this emotional roller coaster, but ultimately you have to accept it. You also have to forgive anyone else involved. You have to forgive yourself. Forgiveness is like it's like the biggest thing. You have to forgive yourself, forgive other people. It's very hard. I remember I got this book out of the library one time about forgiveness, and it was about, can something that's unforgivable be forgiven? Because by definition it's unforgivable. And we can all think of unforgivable acts that people could do to you. But can you forgive it? Well, if you can forgive it, then it's not unforgivable. So it's kind of like a philosophical little conundrum there, but it's the only way of getting over something. And it's a weird thing to try and forgive someone for something that they've done wrong to you, or badly, or whatever. But forgiveness and acceptance, that's emotional maturity. Now, the other thing about emotion is that you're actually going to feel it. Emotion. It's not going to feel comfortable. It's painful. Now, I don't know exactly the biochemistry around why you can feel emotion in your body and why it feels painful, or it feels good, or it feels bad, or whatever. But it's a reality. And if I go back to the first breakup I had, but even probably before that, being rejected before that, feeling pain in your heart, actually feeling pain. Heartbreak is a real thing. Feeling the pain, feeling regret, and being stuck in this thing of blaming yourself, and that's not going to get you anywhere. You just have to accept it. That's all there is to it, But rejection is the other one. When it comes to relationships, just being rejected by someone kind of hurts. And I think a lot of people get so scared of that hurt that they avoid going after the person they like, or they never, I don't know, they even deny they ever liked the person if they get rejected and stuff like that. Oh, I didn't like them anyway, We've all seen that stuff. It doesn't help you. If you don't learn to emotionally process the stuff, as far as I'm concerned, it's baggage. As far as I can see, it becomes baggage. If you can't forgive that person, accept what happened, you made mistakes, they made mistakes, you wanted something, they didn't want it, whatever it was, if you can't just accept that, then that's bad. And I remember having a situation like that, and it's a weird situation with this girl that this was at an event years ago, and it was like she was just playing with a whole bunch of guys. Looking back, she was showing interest in all these guys and going on a walk and inviting them on a walk with her, and I was one of them. And I don't know if women are always playing these games with guys or whatever, but anyway. And so I guess she invited me on this walk. I guess on the walk I tried to show an interest in her, and I guess she rejected it, yeah. Then we went back, and I felt, disappointed. And it could have ruined my whole time at that event. It could have ruined everything, but I just, from experience, I kind of knew, okay, this is going to feel bad. You've been rejected. You're going to feel bad for a day. Just accept it. forgive the person. There's nothing, she's not done anything bad. It's not her fault or anything. You could decide to get angry and go, oh, look at this terrible person, playing games with all these guys. You could do that. You could go into that, but it's not going to help you out. You get depressed about it and think, oh, this always happens to me. I'm so bad. You can go into all that, but it doesn't help you. Just accept it. It happened. It's another thing of life. It's going to hurt. It's going to be painful. Let's just feel that pain. We're not going to drink alcohol. We're not going to take drugs. We're not going to go out and try and hit on some other girl straight away to try and pretend you're going to feel better. Biggest mistake that people make. All those things are big mistakes. We're going to sit and feel it. That's the only thing you can do about it, is sit and feel it. And any negative feelings you have towards that person, you have to forgive. That's it. That's how the human body works. That's how the human emotional system works. That's why forgiveness is talked about in religions and ancient books and wisdom. It's all the same stuff. Forgiveness is the process for you to grow and mature in life and get beyond those things. So if ever I'm in a situation like that, firstly, I do fear rejection, but I don't fear it as much. I never asked a girl out in school because I was so scared of rejection and embarrassment. I'm not like that now, but it makes me selective. I don't want to ask someone out unless I kind of know I quite like them, And they should be worth being rejected over. If you get rejected, it's okay. I've just, maybe you think at this moment this has happened to me recently. I've not been on a date in quite a few months. I've not even been chatting with anyone. I've not been on Tinder. Not doing any of that at the moment. But in your work life, you get rejected. It's the same process, the same thing, And what I realised, my first breakup years ago, it was so painful. I remember the pain coming up in the heart. I remember feeling the pain. And what I worked out, because I didn't drink, I didn't do drugs, I didn't have the ability to go and sleep with other girls, didn't really know how to do that. I wasn't really a womanizer or whatever. So I just had to deal with it on my own. But it was a good thing because I didn't really have a lot of friends. I didn't have a lot of great friends to help me out. What I was able to do was, I learned that if I just sat and focused on it, that it wasn't as bad. Now, I had another friend who went through a situation and he was going through that, and I told him this. I said, sit and focus on it. And he said, that sounds like, hurting yourself. But it's not, it works. When you feel that emotional pain of rejection, breakup, heartbreak, whatever it is, you sit and feel the pain, focus on the pain. Your instinct is to try and distract yourself from the pain. The problem is that people build up pain and create a life of distraction from that pain. And you actually want to learn to focus on that pain. As you focus on it, it breaks it down. I don't know what happens, but as you just sit and focus on the pain that you're feeling and actually feel it, actually feel the pain, it's there to teach you something. It's there to become a part of you, become a part of your memory, become a part of the way you look at life. It's a teacher. These experiences, they create a mark on you, an imprint, so that the next experience you have, you're going into a little bit more prepared, a little bit more understanding, more compassion for yourself, with a foreknowledge that, okay, I might feel really bad if this doesn't work out. Is it worth it? Might make you a bit more cautious. And some people don't do that. They just go from distraction to distraction, from a relationship to relationship, from one drug to another, from one party to another. And the sad thing is they're never feeling what's going on inside them. And we have an entire culture of that. And some people have criticised me in the past for like being on social media and being distracted and stuff like that, but I'm not distracting myself from pain and feelings. I'm just distracting myself like for fun or something. Like I don't know, like I don't feel like I'm distracting myself from any negative emotions. I don't feel a lot of negative emotions inside me right now. I try and identify them. I try and practice forgiveness. I try and practice compassion. Kind of a Buddhist practice, I suppose, where you think about the person that you're having troubles with, struggle with, that you're falling out with, that you're in a tension with, that they've, your boss at work or someone that's someone you don't like, you feel you don't like being around and they're nasty to you or whatever. I try and send love to that person. That sounds like the opposite thing of what you want to do. I try and imagine them in a low moment, in their sad moments. I try and imagine what happened in their life to make them become a kind of a disagreeable person. Or I try and imagine why are they like that? What are they trying to achieve? And send love towards them. And that can transform things as well. That can really transform. Sometimes you're giving power to people by continuing to react to their negativity. A lot of you are doing that with your parents still, or maybe your ex-husband, ex-wife or something. They're still taking power from you. You're still disempowered. So, I mean, it all comes down to feeling what's going on in you. If you've got stuff going on that you're in denial about, you've got to start accepting it. Oh, I never cared about that guy anyway. Oh, whatever. Like someone important's died in your life, or your job ended or something. You're like, yep, no problem. I'm cool with that. You're probably not. It's okay to say I'm not happy about this. It's okay to say I'm sad about this. It's okay to go into your feelings and feel what's happening and forgive yourself and forgive other people and be compassionate towards other people and accept that that's what's happening. Accept the reality of what's happening, and you will be at way more peace. But you shouldn't aim to have a life of just peace. Anyone that's living, you're going to have these ups and downs of emotion. And you're never going to live to your potential if you're not able to deal with your emotions. If emotions scare you, if rejection scares you, if failure scares you, if any of these things scare you, you're not going to live. So many people are scared of, like, love. Scared of it because they got hurt in the past. And they just live a life of picking the wrong relationships, of running away from the right relationships, of creating behaviour patterns that guarantee that that these things won't, that they're protecting themselves from being hurt, and it doesn't bring peace. All it brings is more confusion and depression because you've got no idea what's going on in yourself, and it's just baggage. And when people meet you, they feel that. You can feel, I don't know if you can feel it, but you can kind of sense the heaviness in people. It's baggage. Behind the smile and the laugh and the joke and everything, some people have got baggage going on. A friend of mine, I was asking him why did he go out with younger women, and some men are a lot more attracted to younger women, of course, but His reply was he felt like a lot of the women his age just had so much baggage. And it's not just women, it's just people now aren't dealing with their emotion, don't know how to, never shown how to. And now we've got so many distractions that we don't do it naturally. Whereas in the past you would have been, you would have had loads of time to yourself or whatever, and loads of time to think about these things and go over it, and you'd have had to accept it. And the people around you would have forced you to accept it, but maybe we don't have that now. Anyway, thank you for watching. If you'd like to get more videos like this, feel free to subscribe. Most of my videos are about raw food and stuff, but maybe you want to hear more about this. Maybe you can comment below with your experiences. Let me know if it matches with my experiences. Let me know if it sounds about right. If you want to chat about any of this stuff, feel free to send me a message or something. I don't really offer like coaching in that area or counselling, and I know people that do. I could refer you to someone very good if you want someone to listen to who's qualified. But please sit and feel your emotions. And food can be one of the big things that people do. So if you've got that thing, if you want to eat some food, it might be that you've got emotions you're not dealing with. Maybe you're just hungry, but it might be emotions too. Sit and feel those emotions. It's the best thing you can do for yourself. And forgive people. Let it go. It's time to let it go. Okay, thank you very much for watching the channel. I'll put some links down below. You can check things out. Feel free to follow, and we'll see you in the next video.